Tehachapi time. Maya Acosta, joined by Key Budge. Key, it feels weird for me to be starting this off today, but how are you?
I'm doing well. I think it's appropriate. You've been hosting so many, and before you came on board, I was hosting them all. And then now that you're here, you've really taken up a lot of that from me, which has really freed me up to do some other things. But you've done such a great job at hosting. When we were going to do this one together today, I says, you got the lead. I'm backing you up.
Yes, and exciting stuff. We cover such a wide variety of topics here on Tehachapi. And today, we're talking about the Tehachapi Amateur Radio Association, and we're joined by Micah Martin, the PIO for Tara. Micah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Of course. So we have the field day coming up. That's kind of what we want to focus on and talk about. And for our listeners that maybe have never heard of it before, kind of explain to them what they can expect from this event. So before we get into that, tell us a little bit about Tara and the importance of ham radio in today's world.
Basically, TARA is the Tehachapi Amateur Radio Association, or Ham Radio Club, as most people know it. It's, as my mentor, Ray, says, it's so old it's new again, and when all else fails, amateur radio works. And lately, the AT&T Cellular and Verizon has gone down, and I would post on our Facebook, hey, ham radio still works. So a lot of people thinks it's gone away, but it's still out there. And this field day, we're going to have 35,000 plus hams participate. And that's just on one event we're doing. So it's still alive and well and growing.
Very cool. And from what I understand, the field day is not only something that's happening locally, but it's a nationally recognized event as well?
Yes, it's all over the United States and Canada.
Okay, very cool. Now, when and where is the Tehachapi field day?
We are doing it at Bear Valley High Country Park. It starts Saturday at 11 a.m. and it runs a straight 24 hours until Sunday 10:59 a.m. So we have people that camp out and rotate to be on the air to show that in an emergency, we have the staff and capability to set up off the grid with our own power supplies and enough people to maintain communications through a 24-hour period.
And now, is this event mainly for people that have experience in ham radio, or can this be an event for people who have never even touched a radio, be able to attend and learn about what you can expect?
Well, one of the main points of field day is it's an open house for where hams can introduce the public to our hobby, what we do, and what we're capable of doing. And we have what's called a GOTA station, which is Get on the Air, where I will have a radio, and if I'm not there, somebody else will have a radio for guests to just come up, and we will sit you down and get you on the air, and you can talk to somebody in Saskatchewan or Alaska or wherever you may be getting a call from or to. So we actively are asking people to come on, see what it's out, and just the idea of getting on the air and just reaching someone from across the country in New Jersey or whatever, just no internet, no cellular, it's just a radio in your hand.
And I've heard somebody has mentioned, I can't remember who's told me, that they have been utilizing a ham radio and were able to speak to an astronaut on a space station. Is that true?
It was probably me. I didn't speak to an astronaut, but I have made contacts bouncing off of the, not the ISS. The ISS is so popular that it is just, when you listen to it, it is so fast, and it's just like a lottery to try and get in there, and it's only overhead for a maximum of maybe 7 to 10 minutes, and you got to get it there. I've used, there's several amateur radio satellites that companies will need ballast for the satellite, and they will loan out, or for a discount, let ham radio clubs put a little transmitter repeater on there for ballast, and we use those. And some of the smaller satellites that only work for a few hours are easier to get into, and I've managed to get 2 or 3 contacts bouncing off these smaller satellites.
Very interesting. And this is a free event, correct?
Absolutely. We are, our FCC license forbids us from being paid for our services. So we are a volunteer nonprofit organization.
Okay. Now, I have no sort of knowledge of radio aside from the radios that we use to communicate interdepartmentally, I guess you could say, like through our farmers market. Key, have you had any sort of experience working in law enforcement, I assume?
Yeah, not with ham radio, but with the same kind of radios that we'll use to transmit. Usually it's a line of sight, and we have a repeater up on top of a hilltop to further transmit that signal. So radio, being in public safety, having that handset is such a critical piece. But I know that with ham, it steps in that public safety aspect. In case of an incident, we've got an earthquake, we've got some kind of a major outage. Maybe it's a fire that takes down our cell towers and any kind of radio communication center. Ham is where we're going to be looking at utilizing for public safety and communication outside of our area.
Yes, definitely. Our radios can go shorter distance, like you were talking. We have a couple of repeaters we can use to get over the hill. I actually live in Bakersfield, and I take part in our weekly net. I just get on the radio, and it reaches our repeater. But it is line of sight, so line of sight to the repeater, and then from the repeater on top of the mountain back down. But the HF rigs, they bounce the signals off of the ionosphere through different bands, which is the frequencies we use, depending on time of day, solar cycles, and all that stuff that I had to learn for the test and immediately forgot. So I have apps to use it because I'm still new to the HF, high frequency type stuff, but bouncing off the ionosphere, you can get several hundred miles and then bounces back up, another several hundred miles back and forth, back and forth. You can go around the entire world and hear an echo if conditions are right.
That's amazing.
And the line of sight is good for if there was a local emergency and you needed to get a hold of Bakersfield, Lancaster, or somewhere around. Our line of sight, even if we have to go up and if our repeater went down, which is totally off grid and it's on its own solar panels and batteries, if that went off, we could actually deploy. Somebody can go up to a hilltop and immediately deploy, kind of like our field day shows, just a temporary setup. But if this was a regional thing, like a major earthquake where we needed to get out to just outside Kern County or outside of California, we would use the HF, high frequency, and bounce off the ionosphere and go several hundred miles and make contact to people outside of the larger area. If there was a huge fire or earthquake that knocked out a large section of California, we could get out to Nevada, Arizona, or even further where they would have regular internet, cellular service or whatever, and then we can send radiograms to let people know, call this number or mail to this person that we're okay, this person's okay, or we need this or that.
Right. I mean, and that's one of those things. Sometimes it's easier because if comms are down locally, you get to that area that's 100, 200 miles away.
Yeah.
They're able to reach back into the area that we need to get the communications to. So it's kind of like we play a version of telephone, if you will.
Exactly.
Relay the message to a good source that we can reach. They get it back to where we need it because we can't reach them.
Exactly. And actually, I've been learning about it, and we've been testing out. You can send emails through HF, and as long as you can hit a receiver that's set up for it, which obviously in the case of a major emergency it could be a few hundred miles away or as close as Lancaster or Bakersfield, we can actually send an email over the radio and to a regular email address or to another person, and we can communicate that way. Just email so-and-so that I'm fine, or email FEMA or whoever we need to send emails that way.
Well, that makes sense. I never thought of it, but it's like we hit the send button on our computers or our phone and it disappears. And here it's using different frequencies to send things on. And that's what you're doing. You're able to use this ultra high frequency that transmits this data.
Yeah.
And they're able to receive it and then kind of send it back off to where we need to go.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, cool. Now I know that we used Tehachapi Amateur Radio Association. It's been a few years since the city hosted the Grand Fondo, and we used that as kind of a regional event with all the different communications that were needed. There was some areas that our public safety radios couldn't reach because there were just some dark spots because of the topography,
right.
Couldn't get in. And then we utilized our ham in order to do that. And then putting in some of these checkpoints, and maybe in Bear Valley or some other areas, we'd have a ham set up out there so we could start to relay information. And yes. I think we actually had a signal come in where we had a medical emergency out on the course, and it came in via the ham, and then we were able to relay it through our public safety network at our EOC, Emergency Operations Center, and then dispatch Hall ambulance and Kern Fire out there where there was a medical need during that operation, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, we actually have the Bear Valley Emergency Response Team, which it's under the Terra umbrella. We work with the Bear Valley Springs Police Department, and apparently a while back there was an incident of fire where they couldn't communicate with each other because of the dark spots, and the chief was on the other side of the mountain, from what I understand, and reached out to our club, and we now have hams we have a weekly on Sunday net where we just check in for emergency traffic, and once in a while there'll be a test of the emergency, who's able to come contact and all that. We were activated once. There was a fire, and one of our hams rode with the chief, and I happened to be at my house in Bakersfield, and I could listen to everything going on. So that kind of shows that it worked out, and even like downtown Tehachapi, cellular service is kind of spotty anyway.
Right.
So we the Chamber of Commerce has engaged us for Mountain Festival and the Apple Festival to help communications. So we did the wine walk, and they were happy with us for that. So it's good to get out there.
It's nice to have some real world events that you guys can participate in. You test out your gear and put things in play, because when, things hit the fan and you've got no communication, you don't want that to be the first time you've ever fired it up and tested your network.
Exactly. There's some of the doomsday preppers you can hear on the radio or on Facebook groups, which I used to find fun to look at. They buy the radios and then they just pack them away, and then, I don't need an FCC license if stuff hits the fan, like you said, because who's going to come get me? Well, if you don't use it, then it's packed away. You try to open the directions. You can't go on YouTube and look up how to do it, and that you need to actually use it. And go into events like we did Halloween. We've done these things that don't really tie into ham radio, but it gets us out in the community, and and we actually use the radios, and it's always getting us out to how we can better set up our gear. I am always reorganizing my radio bags and go bags and everything for what we do. We're going to need this. No, I need this, and so I'm always reorganizing what I need.
Well, because of the willingness of Tehachapi Amateur Radio Association to do this and participate in community events, I think you guys have seen an uptake, an increase in your participants. It's helped draw in new members. Yes,
we've had I believe we've had 2 people come up from Bakersfield, and a few other people have heard of us from our postings or seen us on the news, and they've joined us and reached out. So we're actually getting out there, and I feel bad. I feel guilty for the Bakersfield Club, especially President Patrick, who's working really hard to get them going. He's told me that their club wants to, how come Tara's doing this and doing that? So I'm trying to help them out, go out in the community and do things like that.
So they're trying to steal you back.
Well, yeah, they're trying to
recruit you.
They're trying to recruit me, but I'm pretty much swamped with what I'm doing, and I actually feel happy that we end up turning away some of the things that we're just too busy, and that's a good thing. So I'm happy that I'm able to get us all this attention.
Well, I know a couple of years ago when I was doing some reporting before I started working in the city, I covered a field day, and it was at Bright Lake.
Yes.
And quite the setup. And you get out there, and then there was just table after table of gear and equipment. It was very inviting. Mm-hmm. And for kids, too. You guys had an opportunity for kids to go hands-on.
Yes, absolutely. There's been... I believe the last time I looked, the youngest was a 6-year-old girl in California that got her amateur radio license. And there was another one that was on David Letterman a few years back. But yeah, there's no age limit. You could be 100 or you can be 5 or 6 as long as you pass the test.
Very nice.
What goes into the FCC license?
The beginning, there's 3 classes. The beginning is called technician, the second is called general, and then the third is amateur extra. And with the higher licenses, you get more frequency privileges, more power privileges. It seems, I could be wrong, but it seems to me once you get to general, which is the medium, that you get most of the high frequency, which is the bouncing off the ionosphere, and more power, and that's pretty much where everyone stops. At least for me, I'm horrible at math and equations, and studying for the general, it was just mind-blowing, but the only thing I could remember from the entire general pool was you have to wear a safety vest when you climb a tower. So, I mean, and I'm never going to do that. So, but it's actually not that hard. It's the beginning and intermediate tests. There are 35 questions, multiple choice. There's a question pool, just like the DMV, and there's several apps that have the exact question, the exact answer, and you can either memorize the actual test or just learn the basics, and you can kind of rule out one's ridiculous, another's probably not, and then there's 2, and you might feel one way or the other about those. But using the apps, you can take the tests and start recognizing which one's the right answer. And then for me, I thought, well, I'm never going to use satellite, and I'm never going to send images over the, pictures over the radio. I'm never going to do that. But then that became the thing I like to do, is sending pictures or listening and talking to satellites. And once you get your little niche, then that's where everyone kind of goes to. And then anything else, I have apps on my phone to look it up and that. We have members that are into Morse code, digital modes. I'm still on voice. I've tried learning Morse code. I just can't. I always wanted to learn Morse. If I'm ever at the bottom of a mine shaft, I need to tap out where I am and how many people. Other than SOS, I just can't get it. But there's other modes that I never thought I'd be into, like satellites and sending images. And when we do our events, a lot of times if there's going to be kids, I'll take the radio with an old Android that's plugged in the radio, and I say, hey, let me take your picture. And then, walk over to the booth, and you see the picture slowly building, like the old dial-ups, going over on the computer. And I put the sound up so you can hear the squeals of the radio, like the old dial-up sound. So kids get interested in the pictures going up, Mommy, look. So that's kind of interesting.
That is very cool. And so there's a lot of math and, is it, I guess, science that goes into learning how to operate a ham radio?
You can go the whole gambit of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and all that. And it's such a wide field, ham radio, that I am absolutely not friendly with math or formulas or anything like that. But I have apps to figure that out or just do it automatically. But there's others that build ham radios in a little Altoids tin and then try and see how far they can get with that. And I'm just open the box and go, and I'm good with that and learning the basics. So you can get into it as much as you want, or you can go on to something else that interests you. So learning how to build the antennas for the best frequency propagation, all that's just above my head. And I need to call one of the other guys on the club to say, okay, I read this and it says this. I don't understand it. How do I do that? And they're, oh, you just do this off the top of their head. And me, I Googling and checking YouTube, trying to figure it out. And I'm like, give up and call them. Oh, it just means this and this. Oh, okay.
Now you got Field Day on Saturday. It's June 22nd, Bear Valley. I was thinking you would do it at Cub Lake, but you're not.
No, we're going to be up high. It has. We did it last year at the same location. It had really good.
Are you on top of the mountain, or are you guys at the campground off of Paramount in between?
The campground off
Okay.
of Paramount, yes.
Okay. I would think that there's some blind spots in there because it's such steep canyon, but how does that play?
Well, as far as like the radio I will be using for our station, it's line of sight, but last year I was able just line of sight without repeaters. I hit Long Beach, LA area, obviously Bakersfield, but that didn't really count. But I mean, I was amazed at how far just going line of sight to Los Angeles and Long Beach was. But as far as the others, they're going up to the ionosphere, so
Right.
it doesn't really matter. They're
Going vertical.
Yeah, they're going almost vertical. They're going up at an angle, so it doesn't really matter. But it's quiet electronic-wise. There's not a lot of noise from.
No other interference.
Yeah, other
Gotcha.
interference, and it's out of the way, and we're not bothering anybody. But
And you've got the campground, so running 24 hours
yes,
is not an issue.
right, and it doesn't really bother anybody because there's nobody out there. I mean, we spent last weekend weed whacking everything out to smooth the area out.
I was going to say just you, the rattlesnakes,
Yes.
the mountain lions, and the bears.
Yes. Oh yeah, all the fun stuff. But I don't camp. My dad lives up here in Tehachapi, so I stay with him. I'll go up for the day, and then at night I go home with a real bed and
Yeah.
shower and the amenities while the others stay up there.
Nice thing at that campground, there are restrooms that are there, I believe. No?
But actually, I'm going to thank Sim Sanitation. They're donating to porta potties for us.
Oh, very good.
So they donated one last year, and this
Okay.
year they're donating two. So they are. We're really happy with Sim Sanitation.
Oh, very good.
As important as the radios and batteries and everything and food is, well.
Yeah, there's other amenities that are needed.
Yeah, there are other stuff that's not as fun and exciting, but if you don't have them, then you notice them. Yeah. So we're eternally grateful for Sim Sanitation to have some facilities there for us.
Well, it's a beautiful little campground.
Yes.
It's all dry camping. It's easy for folks to access. It's right off of Paramount. If you're not paying attention, you could really kind of pass it by because it sits down, off the road a little bit. But so you guys went in there and kind of prepped it for
Yes.
the season, and
we did the weed whacking and all that. And last year, several of us, including myself, and I'm going up and coming back, and like I said, I stay at my dad's and go up. I passed that road a few times and had to turn around. Okay, where am I? I missed it. I'm too close, whatever. This year I've made signs. I splurged and bought some balloons and streamers, and I'm going to put, turn here, and here's the sign, and so I am not going to miss it this year. And there was a few of us that even know the area that, I passed the road. If someone got on the radio, I looked down past it. So I'm going to make sure that we can find it, especially me and any guests that come up to go there. They will know exactly where it is.
Now, is the seasonal creek still running, or is that already dried up?
I'm not familiar with the.
Okay, it's probably dried then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's usually it's by late spring it's starting to kind of go away, but there's a beautiful little kind of creek that kind of could roll through seasonally. So it is if you've never been there to that campground, it would be great just to check out and just to see that, and then the fact that you guys are there and people can get an opportunity to speak to people around the country or into Canada. That'd be just a fun experience.
Yeah, it's a great site. It's just looking out over, you can see the freeway way down below the 58 and looking out to the mountains, and the sky's blue, and it's just a wonderful spot, and the cool air coming down the mountain. Well, of course, this is Tehachapi, but up there it's a little higher, so there's always cool air coming. So it's nice up there.
Very good. All right. So how many different radios do you think you guys will have a set up?
We will have 6 to 10 operators with 3 HF radios, the ones that bounce off the ionosphere, plus mine that's line of sight that we'll be using as the get on the air station for guests. But we'll also let guests get on the big, powerful HF on there. Just I'll have that one. It's a free one that doesn't count toward our points, but we'll definitely let other people get on the other radios to talk further.
Well, let's talk about the points. So you guys are competing Saturday. It's a national competition.
It's a competition. Officially, according to the ARRL, our national organization, officially Field Day is an operating event and not a contest.
Okay.
However,
we're competitive in nature.
That is not how several of our members are. They are hardcore. They will go 24 hours and coffee and get it going. And to me, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I got my few in, so I'm good. But it's like a contest, but without rewards. It's
bragging
awards.
rights.
Yeah, bragging rights.
It's club bragging rights is what you get.
Exactly, and so-and-so got so many points, and so-and-so got so many Morse code points. And I'm, of course, tried hitting satellites, but that was impossible. I heard a lot of people, but I couldn't get through. Not that I expected to, but that would be bragging points for me. The competitive aspect of Field Day is to contact as many stations as possible in the 24 hours. So we'll have the three radios going, but 6 to 10 operators so they can operate in shifts. So we're always running throughout the night, and that's for bragging points. And we get points for social media and guests coming, having to get on the air station, public coming in. So yeah, that's part of it.
So you guys going to go Facebook Live from the event?
I don't think I'll do Facebook Live. I'll be busy doing everything else. We take pictures of everything, then I'll post them.
Okay.
But it won't be live.
Okay.
So I've got enough going on.
I was going to say, I'm going to challenge you. We want an Instagram Live or a Facebook Live from the event.
I might try it. It was suggested. I might try it, but I might just stick with what I know and just take pictures and post them.
Challenging you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Challenging you, Michael.
I hear it.
Okay, and then tag us, and then I'll share it. Okay. And
I got you.
Okay, we'll help grow your social media. But and let's talk about that. The social media that you guys are active in. You've got a website and social media.
Mm-hmm. I run the Facebook and Instagram. I never actually. While I had an Instagram account, I never really used it because from what the younger people, my younger cousins tell me, Facebook is for old people. And my body reminds me of that sometimes, that I'm not young anymore. But most of the stuff I maintain are Facebook social media. And then I just copy and paste to Instagram, whatever's on Facebook. But Facebook is where I keep everyone in tune with what's going on with our club, what's going on with ham radio in general, events that we have coming up, or sharing what we've accomplished or what our club members have accomplished.
And both accounts, Tehachapi Amateur Radio Association?
Yes.
Okay. And then let's talk about the website, because that's got your FCC license is your handle on the web.
I'm ashamed to admit I haven't checked on our website recently. I know our treasurer, he maintains it, John, and he's been busy, but he updates everything like our calendar and that. But
yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and it's the first thing that pops up is Field Day.
Yes.
So you've got all that, and then a recent event you guys were participating in, a little Pizza Picasso.
Yes.
And
Little Caesars. Yeah.
And just talking about emergency communications, and there's a lot of different things that you guys work with, like CERT, other organizations, and it's got information regarding that.
We have, like I said, the Bear Valley Springs. We started or helped start in Sand Canyon. They always have their phones go out. They started a radio group with John's help mainly, and they use GMRS, not ham radios, but because you don't have to take a test, it's $35 for 10 years, and then that's your whole family and no test. But the GMRS has been used a few times, I understand, when this cell phones go down, and their landlines are cell phone dependent, as I understand it. So they've actually operated a few times, and there is a ham operator out there that listens to the GMRS radios, and then he can reach out to somebody outside of Sand Canyon if need be.
Very good. All right. So if there's someone listening that doesn't live in Bear Valley, are they able to attend Field Day? Are you guys able to get them in?
Yes, if somebody's outside of town, doesn't live in Bear Valley, and they don't know anybody in Bear Valley, they can reach out to me at by Facebook Messenger, reach out on our website, or they can email me at kn6vut at alphacharlie6echoecho.org. That's your
website handle.
I say it in my head just I can't put it down into the letters ac6ee.org. So do that. Probably the fastest way would be to message me on Facebook or just email me, and I can find somebody that can issue a pass.
Very good.
And we have, I did want to mention we have 3 guests coming up from Kern Medical. That's their emergency preparedness team. I invited them, and they are excited. One's actually studying to be a ham, so they're going to come up.
Oh, very good. Bakersfield
Police Department's community engagement person said they might come up.
Okay.
And we have Shannon Grove's office. Senator Shannon Grove is sending a ham operator up to check it out, and he's excited to come up and
very cool.
Try it out. So we've been spreading the word, trying to get everybody to find out what it is. It's not just in zombie movies. They're still relevant.
Very good stuff. Okay, one more time to reiterate for everybody that is this Saturday, June 22nd, starting at 11 a.m., but people can pop by kind of whenever throughout that 24-hour period.
Yeah, pop by. I've put on our packets that I've sent out, 9 a.m. We'll be ready to go, but you'll be able to talk to everybody because everyone will be ready to go, but the contest hasn't started yet. So if they come right early at 9, before 10, when everyone's trying to contest and that's all they're worried about, well, you'll be able to get on the air and try it out. So, but yeah, we will start at 11, but we'll be there and at least setting up. You can see how it works and what goes into setting everything up. So we're all ready to go. And if the actual emergency happens, we're already there.
Well, very cool. And again, that was ac6ee.org for more information, or Tehachapi Amateur Radio Association on Facebook and Instagram.
Correct.
All right. Micah, anything else that you want to add about Field Day or Tara in general?
No, if you're interested in ham radio, we're more than happy to help you out. You're welcome to come to our monthly meetings and just we'll hand you a radio and get you on the air just right in the parking lot at the police department where we meet. We're more than happy to talk about radios and ham radios and how to get your license. If I could do it with a 2-week study period before I took my test, then I'm sure anybody can do it. It's a matter of just learning, like the DMV. There's multiple choice. You can get it. If you don't get it the first time, try again. You'll get it.
Very cool.
What day of the week do you meet at the Tehachapi Police Department?
We meet the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. at the Tehachapi Police Department.
Very good.
And you can just show up. We're happy to have you. Introduce yourself and see if you're interested. And we'll have a seat for you and ask you what you want to do. And if somebody wants to try it out, we'll take you out to the parking lot and get you on the air.
Love that.
Very cool. Sounds like a great way to connect with more people in our community. And I mean, not just in the club, but then you can go out and share your knowledge throughout the radio and connect with people all over the place.
I mean, there's a social aspect and there's the aspect too of the community service where you're there ready to step in with the amount of times you volunteer with all these different events and organizations. You already are set up as a kind of a volunteer assistance and communication, but you're also there in case of a public safety need because of a critical situation that happens in our region.
Exactly. And like I said, going to these events like Halloween, the wine walk or whatever, we're getting our gear out and we're actually operating, so it keeps us going, and we know, oh, well, this battery's dead, so I've got to make sure the batteries are all charged and that kind of thing. And like for field day, we're camping, so obviously there's only 3 radios. We'll have 6 to 10 people, so we're talking. We're generally being geeks and talking about ham radios and all that kind of stuff. But you can sit down and we'll have potluck and snacks and all that kind of stuff. I've been trying to get our hospitality chair, Valerie, to get the lobster and shrimp, because we really want to make a good impression on guests, but
it's not hit the budget yet.
It's not hit the budget. I even said, a helicopter shuttle from Tehachapi to Bakersfield, that would just, we would make the news for sure, but they're just not going for it. I don't know what to do.
It's outside their budget, their credit card limit line, right?
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm getting us all this information.
Well, maybe there's a sponsor listening that would like to sponsor the Hilo rides from Baco to Tehachapi.
And I'll tag you on our social media.
Or maybe there's a restaurant that's got a surplus of lobster that's willing to donate or prep for you guys.
I'll be more than happy to tag you on our social media for that.
There you go. All right.
Well, good stuff. Micah, thank you so much for coming in today and talking about Field Day and Tara and how people can get involved.
Well, thank you so much for having me, you guys.
All right. If anybody listening has any sort of questions or comments, you can always email us, media@TehachapiCityHall.com, and we can get those questions and comments to the right place. Or you can also send us a message on our social media @City of Tehachapi on all social media platforms. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you back here next time on Tehachapod.